So when people say to me that they don't feel like they can be consistent, or the idea of copying somebody else, you can't copy that person's love and security in their own business and translate it to yours. It doesn't work that way. You have to do that yourself.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Mortgage Influencers, where we bring you professionals who share insight into the latest trends, tips, industry technology, and services to help you be a mortgage influencer in your mortgage business. All of our sounds and everything. Okay. Happy Wednesday and welcome to another episode of Mortgage Influencers. My name is Ginger Bell. I have Scott Schang on with me, and we have some special guests, and I'm excited because today's the day. Yay!
TikTok royalty is amongst us.
Okay. So our guest today co-authored this book with me, and Danny Ruiz is the mastermind brains behind this idea. And our other guest, Miss Theoni Rapo, who is a absolute amazing TikTok master. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about kind of what goes into TikTok. That's our conversation today. So thank you guys for joining. And I also want to say congratulations, because we did a very soft launch on this book. Today is actually our official live day, but it hit #1 in the new sellers. So congratulations, you are both best-selling authors. Woo!
Awesome.
So super excited about that. Okay, so let's dive in. We're going to talk about TikTok. Danny, I want to start off with, really, you got into TikTok almost a year ago, right?
Yes.
You'd been doing videos on YouTube, and then you said, hey, I'm going to try this whole TikTok thing, right? So tell me about that.
Yes, I started doing TikToks when I saw that Facebook jump into the Reels wagon. I said, like, hey, if they are doing Reels now, there is something related to the span of attention and the behavior of people. So I started like looking information about TikTok as a business, the business opportunities. And I watched a couple of videos on YouTube, and I was totally convinced. And I was started watching TikToks. I became kind of addictive. So I said, like, hey, this is cool, because with the short span of attention that people is having in today's world, with all the multitasking, if I can put a 15-second or 60 seconds message with high intensive energy and value, I think that is gonna work. So that's how my journey started on TikTok. And since I saw that it was very easy, like, hey, if I have a specific scenario with a client, I can just hang up the phone and record myself with that experience, that story of like problem, solution, and call to action, what happened, and boom, 15, 60 seconds, done, posted, and bye. So I saw that as an opportunity, and it has been effective.
Very good.
I'll say.
Yeah. And Theoni, very much for you. So I love your journey, not just on TikTok, but really, getting into the industry. So if you want to share with us a little bit of that.
Yeah. So mine was a little bit different, because I was on TikTok when my 13-year-old sister was on TikTok, and she was dancing, and I was like, this is crazy. Like, and I loved TikTok's editing platform. So I was doing it as, okay, I'm going to edit my videos in TikTok, but I'm going to post everything onto Instagram. And so I'd still post it, because that's how I could download it back then. I couldn't download it or screen record it before. So I was like cultivating this profile without knowing what I was really doing, until it was actually a video of my office dog at the time that blew up. And I was like, people are on this thing? Like, no way. I mean, I was getting like 20, 30, 40,000 views in a matter of like a couple minutes. And I was just like, this is crazy. And then, I continued to just do the same thing, where people were reacting to my videos and the editing on Instagram. So I kept making them on TikTok until, again, eventually I've talked to Ginger so much about this, but it was a video out of frustration that I made to just tell people, you know, it's January of 21 or 21. And I was like, listen, if you want to buy a house, like, here's what you need to know. It's 3 things. And it just blew up. And that's when I really started diving into TikTok and then posting totally separate. So now I see TikTok as my lead gen and Instagram as my, my like cultivating a community.
Nice.
So that video blew up and it was very simple. So here's what you need to do to buy a house in 2021. You had over 1 million?
No, not that one.
Not that one.
That one. So I don't even think enough people were on TikTok at that time.
At the time.
I think that one got like 500,000 or 600,000 views. And like
how many apps?
I got 220 apps ish.
Yeah. And how many funded loans?
Those 25.
25 funded loans.
Mm-hmm.
So one video talking about, hey, if you want to buy a house this year, here's what you need to do. Created out of frustration because it's like, my God, you guys pay attention here, right? And it wasn't great. You said you propped up the phone like on your desk, the light.
Didn't use my ring light.
Yeah, no makeup. I mean,
No.
it's like all of those things. Over 220 applications, 25 funded loans. And that's the thing people always want to know. And Danny, you get this a lot too. It's like, okay, you know, TikTok, whatever. It's just noise. Does it really bring you in business? And the answer is
yes, it brings a lot of business. Yeah, definitely. But I think that what happened there is why I use TikTok so much is that I have in a short period is no fluff, is just you go with the straight message. So she wasn't a straight shooter on that message. Out of frustration, she went into, hey, these are the 3 things that you should not do in buying home, and boom. And that caught people attention, like that shake them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I know for me, that is everybody's hook is different now. Cause you'll see that Instagram is filled with this. It's like spam calls. But it's like, here's the top 5 hooks to use to go viral. And I think everybody's hook is different. Like for me, when I show up on TikTok and I say, here are 3 things that you need to do to buy a house, I go viral every single time. I've done it. I've tried and true. The last video I did was 6 months ago. And that was the one that got 2 million views in my bathroom, putting on makeup. So I know that that's what, you know, happens with me, but you don't know what that hook is. And I can't tell you what yours is unless you try so many. I mean, I was on TikTok for a year before my video blew up.
Yeah, maybe I try to do the same in the bathroom, but it's not going to be the same.
Your makeup on.
Exactly. But I also want to be very honest with people is that not that video is going to probably it's like the consistency of doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because I have people that they have called me this week like, hey Danny, I have watching you like since 9 months ago, and now is the one I decided to call you. So you know, you need to record it.
Yeah, you don't know who's watching.
And I would also argue that it's not as much the hooks, and I think you're kind of inferred that, Theoni, but it's you get to the point where you're yourself, where you're just completely comfortable, you're completely genuine and transparent, and that consistency is required in order for you to shed all of the fears of what are people going to think of me, and am I saying the right things? Like as soon as you get comfortable in your own skin and then you're just you, it's almost like it's like a lighthouse, and you attract people to you that are attracted by your light. And I just love that. And the reason you have those numbers is because that's such a massive audience and such an amazing algorithm. It gets shown to almost all of their members at some point, you know? So yeah, that's really, really valuable lesson, because you two couldn't be different, but you're kind of having the same experience. And I think the moral of that story is everybody can do it. You don't try to copy somebody else. The thing that you should copy is that you should try and then not stop.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think too, copying somebody, like I can't copy the love that Danny has for his business, and he can't copy the love that I have for mine. It's so
Yep.
different. And
Yep.
so I talk about this, it's this new like way I'm viewing it. If you're not consistent on there, then you don't actually believe in your business as much as you might. And so
Mm.
it's that drive that for me at least gets me to show up I'm on every day, every day, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, every single day. I am making a post. I am on a story. Like my face is on the internet every day and I'm talking about my business, because that is how much I love what I do, but that's how much I believe I am really good at what I do. So when people say to me that they don't feel like they can be consistent, or the idea of copying somebody else, you can't copy that person's love and security in their own business and translate it to yours. It doesn't work that way. You know, you have to do that yourself.
To find your voice.
Yeah.
And people see that consistency. And Danny, you saw this because you started having real estate agents contact you and saying, hey, I'm seeing you all over the place. Can you show me what you're doing? Which really led to the idea with the book, right?
That's correct. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's how everything started with the book, right? So and we share on the book that one of the things that it is good, it is not, I won't say like you have to copy, but one of the ideas for you to start in this journey of TikTok or any other platform, because what we teach in this book, you can use it, you know, any platform. But like, let's say when you start, you want to see what others are doing. So that's how I started. I started like looking at others, taking some ideas, and I said like, wow, they had like so many likes, so many shares. So let me do this but with my recipe, with my seasoning. And that's how I started. And I started looking more and having, then I have people comment and have question about what you just said, and you can reply with another video to that person. So that's it's a great platform, because if you think that you don't have ideas, the ideas are going to be the question from the people that is following you, because the TikTok algorithm, the good
Yes.
thing that it has is that it put people on your For You page that they are looking information about. So people, you attract people with your content, period.
Yeah. I mean, people like attracts like. We talk about that all the time, right? So your clients that attract, you know, for you, Theoni, are not going to be the same as for me or for Scott or for Danny. So that's where your personality comes in. And you know, getting started.
Real
Go
quick,
ahead, Scott.
I don't want to let this go. One of the things Danny said that I thought was really, really important, it's kind of cool, is you're not necessarily copying, but if you see the people that are getting the most traction, and if you find yourself saying, I've got an opinion on that, then share it. Right. So you're not copying, you just, oh, okay, I have an opinion on that topic and that topic seems to be popular. So
yeah,
let me share my perspective.
Or he forgot or missed this part.
100%, right?
Yep.
It's like, I would say that this way. Okay, cool, do it.
Yeah. And change it, put your own spin on it.
Yeah.
So, and you know, we don't do a lot of promoting on our podcast, but I am so excited about this because step by step in this book, Danny went through, and Danny and I worked, we made the outline and kind of decided, okay, what are the steps in getting started on TikTok as a mortgage professional? Because honestly, I think a lot of people are intimidated by that. It's like, how do I get started with it? And so it's a matter of, and honestly, Danny, I think you can apply this to probably just about any type of social platform you're on. And before we got started, Theoni and I were having a conversation about the different platforms. And, you know, you recently started commenting on Facebook, which, you know, as older folk are on Facebook, the Facebook. And so, you know, it's, and you saw engagement on there, right?
Yep, that's true.
So it's a matter of putting those steps in place. So honestly, with the book, and you can get the book at the TikTok book, it goes through the steps. Honestly, if you pick this up and follow it, Danny put screenshots in here. It's step by step. Theoni added hers as far as what has worked for her. So if you want to get started, this is what you need to do, and just grab it and just start at the very beginning and go boom, 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 boom. And so great job on that, Danny. You know, I'm being an educator myself, and Scott, I know you as well, to take the time to do that. It takes a lot. So, thank you both for contributing and making a difference here. So
Well, thank you for sharing and not thinking that you have this closely guarded secret and I don't want anybody to steal my business. That's
Right.
exactly the wrong attitude. The fact that you have this and you're just sharing this and just putting all that love out there and just wanting to help everybody else. It's so needed in this industry. This is the kind of thing that I really embrace in our industry is when you're being that sharing and that giving. So
Hey,
that's just
definitely.
important.
I do this because I struggle a lot, and I know how is to start on this business from scratch. Because when I relocated, I didn't know anyone here in the Tampa, Florida area, so I needed to put food on the table. And what really helped me to create attention was doing videos. And it put me in front of real estate agents, in front of brokers. They my circles of sphere, because I friend requested everyone with a real estate agent on their Facebook, and I started doing video, and they started like sharing my videos. And when I went to places, when I was in a networking event, they came to me like, "Hey, you're Danny." I said like, "Hey, who are you?" So yeah, people do business when you like, know, and trust, right?
Yep.
So it helped me a lot with the DSP when I met in the Marketing Animals car wide with the DSP. When I started dialing, that it was very difficult, that cold calls. It was much easier because most of the time they said, "Yeah, you're Danny, the guy that you do a lot of videos." Yeah, I know you, Yusuf. It's so much easier for us when we start with video to make those connections. And I think that there's so much opportunity for everyone in any platform right now, because we had so many things to talk about. Like, which was the first keyword that people was looking on Google on 2020 or 2021? It was mortgage calculator. And while you are looking for mortgage payments, even if you don't know that you are not pre-approved for a certain amount, people don't even know that they have a problem until they call us, right, Theoni? So
Correct.
there's so much content to share that you don't have idea. People is thirsty for that information, and they don't even know it.
One of the things that I've always said, because I've been doing consumer direct content for about 15 years now, I've always said that when you're creating content, you have no competition because there's only one you. And you're attracting people that know, like, and trust you. And we don't know what that is. All we can do is be present. And hopefully the people find us. So you guys are the epitome of that.
Yeah, which is so true. Okay, so things that you're doing videos about right now, because you said, the number one thing that people were searching for was the calculator, the rate calculator. So what are things, if we're going to talk about, here's 3 things, if you're going to make a video, here's 3 things that you should be doing as far as, talking about right now in your videos. What are you guys seeing as far as those trends that consumers are searching for, want to know about, that you're getting reactions to? And it could be different for both of you.
Theoni, go ahead.
So I think for me, the biggest thing is I'm getting a lot of hate right now posting anything, because I'm just going to be totally honest. Trolls are everywhere, which means I'm doing a superb job with my content, because I welcome it. Like, I was talking to Danny a couple of weeks ago about this, but I love when that happens to me, because it means that I am that much closer to finding the audience that understands what I'm saying. Right now, people want to know why people are buying houses, because all they hear in the media is it is the worst investment to make right now. Don't buy a house. Rates are crazy. There's competition left and right. So to educate people on like, hey, people are still getting divorces. People are still moving for work. People are graduating college and don't want to live with their parents. People are still buying investment properties because there's opportunity there. You know, they're like introducing
Landlords are raising rent and selling
right,
their houses.
introducing the reasons why people are still buying in a time that the media is just constantly, I mean, the media is always negative, right? And so anything that the media is saying, if you just say the opposite of, I feel like that's just, you know, the educating piece, but you're going to have people who are always going to call us scammers and con artists and, you know, all the things. And I welcome that because it's another chance for me to take that comment, put it in, and then make another video about it. So I think, I don't know if it's 3 things. I think that's the biggest one that I see right now is that people want to just know stories on the deals people are getting, why people are purchasing a home right now, and just educating them on the different types of loan products out there, the different rates, like, and then in 6 months, it's going to be the same people who bought now and then their refinance story. And now you can just sit on the sidelines and watch people go into bidding wars in their own home. So I think that's the biggest thing is just educating people on why they're buying right now.
I want to interject real quick. I think I'm pretty sure this is a Churchill quote and it's kind of paraphrasing, but the best leaders, half the people love you and half the people hate you. But the bottom line is they're all passionate about you.
Yeah, I know. And
you're doing something right. I love the way that you embrace that.
I love it.
Well,
I
you're
love
not
it 'cause
fearful of it because I think a lot of people, they take that as like, oh my gosh, you know, it's like, you know, Sally Fields, you like me, you really, really like me. It's like, you will find those people. So,
Yes.
but I want to dig into that a little bit because how do you handle the haters? Because you lean into it and you say, I love it, bring it
I
on.
love it.
And
It fans the flame of your passion for
that
what
is,
you
and
do.
it comes through, but how do you respond to them?
So a few different ways. So if you guys were to go on my TikTok and see one of my, I think it was like a $1.2 million or $1.2 million view
Hopefully.
video, not yet, but close. But I think that one, I like said something weird with my wording. And after I posted it, I was like, crap, I can't go back and change the wording in the video. So I just like let it roll and it performed. And so I was like, great. But that video, like 99% of those comments, if you go through them, are just shit talking me. Like
I know which video you're talking about. Yeah.
all of them. And so I started to respond to them in like a fun way where I was like, people were like, clearly you are making no money. And like, now you're desperate and blah, blah, and all this stuff. Or like the math isn't mathing or, you know, shit like that. And so I started responding and I was like, I'm so sorry you feel that way. Like, could you explain? And then once you respond to people, they never respond to you because they don't think you're going to see it. But then I got so many of those that I was like, you know what? Like, I'm not going to respond. Like, I'm not truly going to respond. I'm just going to read them. And then I use them to now start like my own series called Sad Boy Hours, where like it's people who like crap talk me or they think like, you know, I got comments like, who would even use a lender when I could pay cash, or I don't even need an agent. Like, people think I'm an agent, which I love those comments because I can just be like, I'm not an agent, but like thinking about getting my license. Thanks. Like it's super fun to me because I know that at the end of the day, like that's not my consumer, you know, it's not my ideal client. And it really shocks me sometimes though, how people like, I could never imagine going to any video and commenting what I see. And some of them are harsh. Like I've been told I had brain damage. Like I probably shouldn't be doing this industry. It's wild to me that people really sit there and take their phones and they're like comfortable with typing that. And
yeah, they take it very personal. Yeah, that's
I know. Yeah. And so I feel like for me, that's not my problem. Like those people have other issues. But it definitely took a while because I mean, if you ask my husband this, he'd be like, Theoni, 2 years ago, you were crying because somebody said you looked ugly. And I was like, you're right. Like it's a journey.
That was then.
So,
this is now.
Yeah, that was back then. That was like 20-year-old Theoni. Like we've evolved, we're grown. Now we welcome it. But I think that's the biggest thing is just like find humor in it because you're always that means you're doing something right. You're weeding out the people that aren't going to be your customers anyway, at the same time educating them. Those people are still watching your video. They're still helping you get to your ideal client. So welcome it.
Yeah.
They love you or hate you, but they're listening. But they're listening.
We have a question in from an anonymous attendee. It says, are the TikTok videos long enough to educate?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Now I think you can go up to like what, 3 minutes on TikTok?
10
Even
minutes.
longer.
You
10
can go
minutes.
up to
Yeah.
10 minutes.
You up to
Yeah.
10
Well,
minutes.
my-
I haven't done a 10-minute long one yet. I
Me
think the
either.
longest I've done is like almost 3. But you have to be really, really good at captivating like attention for that long. And so there's like tips and tricks to that. I haven't gotten it down yet, but if you go to my TikTok profile, you'll see that I am playing around with longer formats. So once I do get that formula that I can share, then I will. But right now I'm testing it out. I don't know. I haven't watched a 10-minute long video yet on there yet, but 3 minutes I think is definitely enough to educate.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you break it down too, you know, and Danny, you do a really good job of this where you lead them into a path that goes, you know, down additional information. And that's really the thing. So is it long enough to educate? Not through the entire process, no. But
But it's-
is it long enough to educate on the points you're making? Yes.
Yes,
So
yes. Hey,
that's-
and it's a great opportunity for you to create curiosity and hey, to end the video with a call to action because you don't want to be the one who educate everyone and then they go with another lender and close the loan. You want that transaction to be done with you. So that's the way to say, hey, for more information, call me now. And on the comments, I post, call me. This is my phone number. And people call. If you give them the instruction, they're gonna call. If they don't know what else to do, okay, this is a like, and I don't put food on the table with likes or shares.
So I
and
want to
would
talk
also-
about
also-
the call to action for just a second because Danny had a realization not that long ago how important that call to action is at the end. So if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I have been like, because that happened, a lady commented on one of my videos, like, hey, Danny, thank you so much for all the information. I bought my house. So I was like, but you never called me. What happened here? Yeah, she never called me because I never told her to call me, that I was going to assist her if she called me. So it was like, it was good to watch that review. But from that day on, I started posting call me. And another comment that I realized that people was writing was what lender do you recommend me to do my home purchase? And I was like, hey, I'm telling you, I got mad first, but I said, okay, how I can convert this into an opportunity. So very easy. I started implementing who I work with and where they can reach out to me and what will be the next step to call me. And that boost increased 150% the appointments that I got. Yeah, and that's also very important. You need, and in the book I talk about this. You need systems because if you are receiving those calls, you don't want to miss them, and you don't want people posting bad reviews about you in your video. So that's another topic that we included on the book.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that too, Theoni?
Yeah, that's a great point. That I was going to say, for those of you who know my journey, know that when I did get those 220 applications, I was not ready for that. That wasn't, I was not looking for that sort of business. I didn't have a team behind me to do that. I didn't. And so it makes me sad to think about that time because I didn't even know I was trying to.
So it could have been more than 220. If you would have had a system.
I think I had like 1,000 emails. Like I didn't
Wow.
sleep for, people think I'm kidding, but I really did not. I went to bed at like 2 or 3 a.m. and then I was up at like 6 to try to get them done before the day had started. Cause this was the craziness when we were like trying to drink water from a freaking fire hydrant. You know, it was a crazy time in our market. So trying to navigate new leads while, you know, maintaining that business was crazy. Like I didn't know what going viral was actually what it entailed. Like I just thought, okay, if I go viral, I'll make a lot of money and everything will be great. But the system is so important, or you just don't sleep. And then I lost I closed enough where it was good, but I can't imagine how many I could have done if I had a system in place or if I had a team or if I had, you know, okay, like these are going to be the times that I do my initial consults, but systems are always changing. And like, I mean, I definitely have one now, but it changes all the time. Like I'm in the process of creating my own CRM because I hate all of them. I've tried all of them for our industry. And that's such a big thing that I am a fan of, is having a good system that helps me. So I'm just creating my own, and that changes every day. You know, I'm working on it every day, but it's so important to know that when you're starting to do this, have the manpower and know what it entails, because you don't know what video it's going to be that blows you up. So having a link in bio, having your application, having your phone number, having your email, where are people going to go? And then once that hits, what does that look like for you? Do you have the capability to take on that business? Everybody says yes until you actually think about it. So that's definitely one point that I would highly encourage, is to sit down and figure that out for yourself.
Very cool. So we are already at the top of the hour. I do want to have one more question though, that is in by another anonymous attendee. Do you post anywhere else? So let's talk about that, and then we'll close it out and have you guys back again several times, I'm sure. So you created on TikTok, then what happens?
Well,
Danny,
if I
do you wanna
create it
take
on
this?
TikTok, I post it, and after that, I edit the watermark on an application, video app, InShot. I share that on the book too, and then I can, if it was 60 seconds, then I upload that into the YouTube Shorts, and also in the Reels on Facebook and in my stories, Instagram, Facebook. Yep. And sometimes we have the same video on TikTok that it didn't get too much traction, but then on the Facebook Reels, everyone is sharing it, so you never know.
Same
Yeah.
thing, Theoni?
Yeah, I would say so. Except I think my content, I used to do that same thing until I really like making content. So I will make like a different video in the app in TikTok, post that. And then my Instagram is a little bit different. But I am a huge TikTok, Instagram girly. I love Instagram. So I do post a lot on Instagram. I wouldn't say the same video, just because, like I said, I personally like to create in the apps, which makes it a little bit harder, but there's so many different tools that you can take those videos, take out the watermarks. I need you guys to not put watermarks in your videos. If it says TikTok, don't post it on Instagram, because they hate it too. Like Instagram won't push it out, the whole algorithm thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely use, I need to get into YouTube Shorts. So Danny, you reminded me.
Yeah, and I mean, you can, if you're, honestly, if you're shooting one for one, you can post those things onto your YouTube Shorts. So, for Danny and Theoni, they're very much our creators, and they feel very comfortable doing those things. If you don't, then that's okay. You can post on several, and it's a matter of getting started. So I think the number one thing is get started.
Just do it.
Because video definitely does make a difference in your business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Okay, so we have one more question. I love it when you guys put in questions, because that tells me.
But can I address this one?
Yes.
So it doesn't have to be professional. It just has to be personal.
Yeah. So the question is, you two work from home. Does it have to be, from home? Does it look professional? Yeah. I mean, it needs to. All of us work from home. I mean, it's like home is work. I mean, that's it. So, and people know that. I think that's one of the things COVID really did, is made it to where it doesn't, and people don't want to see that. Your video that went viral, the last one in December, which had over, and I don't even know what it's at now, is 2 million the last time I looked. She honestly was in her bathroom dressed, putting her makeup on. And so
and I got one of these pop sockets. Or not pop sockets, called a flip stick. Sorry, I'm working on getting a code with them, so I'll share that on my Instagram. So
very cool. There you go.
But it's awesome. You can stick it to anything and prop it up against. It was propped up against my mirror, and you just make the video.
Yeah. And you're good to go. Cool. So, okay. Fantastic. You two, thank you so much. And again, congratulations on being best-selling authors. Make sure and make a video about that. And and then for those of you who want to get started on TikTok, you can go to, it's called thetiktokbook.com, and it's TikTok for mortgage and real estate professionals. So think about that. As far as, it's not just about you, but get started, and then you can help your real estate professionals to do some of those too. So you guys, thanks so much. Always love having you, Scott. Thank you. And next week we have Mark Madsen, and Mark is absolutely phenomenal. And actually, Theoni, I need to connect you with Mark because he might be able to help you on that CRM. He is very much into funnels and websites and different things. So thanks, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Everybody.
Bye.
Bye.